Good morning. Good morning to you. Okay. But I seriously, I do that every day. Good morning to you. The birds are chirping. I'm dating myself, aren't I? Good morning. For this upload, oh, welcome to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. I am Southern Bible Thumper, and my mother is Holy Roller, Jesus Jr. Okay. For this upload, we're going to be reading Deuteronomy chapter 21. If one be found slain in the land which the Lord If one be found slain in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who hath slain him, then thy elders and thy judges shall come forth, and they shall measure unto the cities which are around about him that is slain. And it shall be that the city which is next unto the slain man, even the elders of that city shall take an heifer which hath not been wrought with, and which hath not drawn in the yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer unto a rough valley, which is neither eared nor sown, and shall strike off the heifer's neck there in the valley. And the priests, the sons of Levi, shall come near. For them the Lord thy God hath chosen to minister unto him, and to bless in the name of the Lord, and by their words shall every controversy and every stroke be tried. And all the elders of that city that are next unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Be merciful, O Lord, unto thy people Israel, whom thou hast redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto thy people of Israel's charge, and the blood shall be forgiven them. So shalt thou put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and shall be thy wife. She shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will, but thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he hath, for he is the beginning of his strength, the right of the firstborn is his. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that, when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and bring him out unto the elders of the city, and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, This our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shalt thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day, for he that is hanged is accursed of God, that thy land be not defiled, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. Um, I was thinking, I'm a huge fan of SpongeBob. I was born in '89, so I'm trying to work on being less sarcastic, less cynical, and I'm just not going to make any additional comments. I can just tell you, I was saying the word Deuteronomy, and SpongeBob is like a big part of my childhood and current life. Like, there's a situation in SpongeBob that can relate to every part of life. I will I will fight for it. When I was thinking about Deuteronomy, there's a episode of SpongeBob where he's like, I don't know what he's saying, but when I said Deuteronomy, that reminded me of that SpongeBob episode. You know what I'm talking about? Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy. Okay, as I said, Bible thumping is a lifestyle. Um, Narrow is the way. Few there be that find it. So that describes. Oh, well, I'm not going to say that. I'm currently manifesting for increase. Currently manifesting for increase with money, with subscribers, with most things in my life. Manifesting currently and changing my language around the things that I want to see in my life. Instead of saying I don't have, saying I am currently acquiring that thing. Okay. So summarizing numbers, this is why if I just stick to the topic, Deuteronomy chapter 21. Again, Moses is still speaking to the second generation of Israel out of Egypt. The audience that he's talking to, these are the children of the generation that left Egypt with Moses. So the generation that witnessed the plagues of Egypt, the generation that crossed the Red Sea. Moses is the last of that generation. The audience that he's talking to, they are all the second generation. He's preparing them to go into the land of Canaan. Moses was disobedient as well as the other people in his generation. So God said, none of you are going to overtake the promised land. None of you are going to live in the promised land. So he's been talking since Deuteronomy chapter 1. I've read up to 24 at this moment. Moses has been talking consistently through the entire chapter. So that's something to take into account because some of the stuff we're going to read here, you have to remember, God did command this stuff, but you have to always take into account human error when a human is talking for 21 chapters. Verses 1 through 9. This outlines a procedure that the Levites and the elders have to complete when they find a dead person. So if someone is found dead, the elders should measure and determine the closest city to where the body is. A female cow that has never worked should be taken from that city that is closest to the dead body. It should be killed in a valley that has running water. And this valley has to be a place that has not been altered with crops or harvesting, planting, anything like that. Verse 5, the priests should be present. The elders from the city the heifer was taken from should wash their hands over the heifer and declare, they should make a declaration. Our hands did not shed this blood, and we did not see the death happen. This act, following this procedure, will purge the guilty of innocent blood from the land. Verse 10. When you go to war in Canaan and you see a beautiful woman and you want her as a wife, bring her home, shave her head, cut her nails, have her remove the clothes of her captivity. Okay, so that's one that I want to look up. Okay, so the reason why I'm bringing this part up is because in verse 12 it says, shave her head, cut her nails. But from the King James Version, it says, pare her nails. But this is meaning cut the nails. Have her remove the clothes of her captivity. And then give her a month to mourn. And with these different translations, lament is a word used. And lament, okay, to mourn aloud, to express sorrow. And see, what I always took lament to mean was to regret strongly, which to regret your parents, that's kind of a different feeling than to express sorrow for them. But every entry listed under a term, um, every term, how can I better say that, express this idea? All the stuff that's underneath the term is what the term means. The term encompasses everything underneath it. Maybe that's the best way to say that. So we have here lament, mourn, weep, bewail. Okay, express deep sorrow for. Okay. So when you go to war, you see a beautiful woman, you want her, bring her home, shave her head, cut her nails, and give her a month to mourn before you sleep with her. Sounds fair, fair. All right. And then if you don't delight in her, which I think that's kind of sad, where after you consummate the marriage, and why I'm saying this is because you may go into her, you may have relations with her, and usually going into someone means, when it's written like that in the King James, it's meaning you can, consummate the marriage, you can permission to have sex with a person. So allow her a month to mourn, then you can have sex with her. But the next verse is like, okay, but if you don't like her anymore after you kill her family, bring her to a strange place, uh, shave her head and her nails, and then you have sex with her and you don't like it, well, then just let her go, because you shouldn't sell her. You've already humiliated her. And so I also think the choice here, humbled, we're going to see this word used with women in this chapter and the next chapter, humbled. And we see that in these other versions, humbled is saying humiliated, dishonored. Let me look up that term, humbled. Not proud, not arrogant or assertive. A ranking low in hierarchy. To destroy the power, independence, or prestige of. So we will see this with women a little more often. Well, just these couple of chapters, we're going to see a woman being humbled, that phrase being used with a woman being humbled, a woman being humiliated, a woman having her power taken from her. As a woman, reading these things, it should help you prepare for real interactions in the world. That's how this information should be taken, instead of being offended or just trying to understand. Yes, there is some unfairness in the world, but if you understand what the rules are, you can use that information to help you strategize and make better decisions in this unfair world. I would just advise, well, why should you listen to me? In my life, the reason why I want to choose the light instead of strategizing endlessly in the dark is because that's what you're going to do. The darkness was here before God even started creating anything. Darkness and emptiness, that is the default nature of this earth. The darkness is an entity that is ancient. People tend to not have a respect just because they don't understand something. And there's a reason why there's a division between the spirit world and our human world. The darkness can't be controlled. It can only consume. And of course, when you first embrace the darkness, there are going to be some positive responses because that will encourage you to further go into the darkness, to justify any means that you have to take. Went off on a tangent there. But the light will always win. And nothing good comes from the dark. Confusion, contradiction, anger. You embrace the darkness, you're going to be endlessly strategizing forever because that's all you can do. You can't ever accept anything light. Your laughter can't even be pure. Laughter has to come at someone's expense all the time. That's why you don't embrace the darkness. But people who do it, they find out. I've already done that. I've already found out. So I learned quickly that fire is hot, and I don't like being burned. So, okay, beautiful woman, bring her home, shave her head, cut her nails. If you don't like her anymore, let her go. Don't sell her. Then we get to verses 15 through 17. If a man has 2 wives, but he loves one and hates the other, do not change the pattern of inheritance. The firstborn son, even if the firstborn son is from the hated woman, you give that firstborn son a double portion, since he's the strength of the father. So, another thing to pick up from here, a man will marry a woman that he hates. I've personally experienced married men paying too much attention to me, married men trying to talk to me. But if you look on TikTok, there's so many women talking about that. It's not information to make you upset. It's just information to help you understand. Marriage does not mean love all the time, and not for men all the time. He can hate a woman he's married to, just like Jacob. That's how Jacob/Israel, that's how he had so many children. He was tricked into marrying the older sister that he hated. When there was a danger with Esau, he put the 2 slave women and their children, then put Leah, the wife he hated, and then Rachel behind it all. Just something to pay attention to. Just note, marriage does not mean you're loved. So, again, if you're an unmarried woman like me and you see that, don't just assume, hey, that's love. Wait for God, because God can see what you can't. So, man has 2 wives, one loved, one hated. If the firstborn is from the hated woman, give the son from the hated woman his rightful inheritance. Verse 18. If a man has a rebellious son and that won't listen to his parents, bring him to the elders. Let me just... Contacts are starting to get dry. Okay. If a man has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey his parents, bring him to the city gates, the entrance or the designated location. Announce that he's a glutton and a drunk and he's disobedient. The men of the city will stone him to death. To purge the evil from your midst. Then verses 22 through 23, if a man commits a crime worthy of death, he should be hanged. This will put the evil away from Israel. So again, this is a review. Moses is helping the Israelites prepare for Canaan. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. I love you. I love you. Have a wonderful day.